Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at the spectacular Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, New York. Not only is it New York's second largest mall, it's one of New York's most successful malls, and easily one of the busiest malls I visited in the last few years, even though this was filmed on a Monday around 1 p.m. So now come along with me and let's take a look around. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs, flea markets, and who knows what else. And if you really want to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon, which is also called Flea Bitten Adventures. Thanks. This mall, not surprisingly, is located on the site of Roosevelt Field, which was an airfield that was probably most famous for being the location where Charles Lindbergh took off for his transatlantic flight to Paris in 1927. The airfield closed in 1951, and the land was sold with the intention of turning the property into a shopping center. Ground was broken in 1955, and the mall opened in 1956 as Roosevelt Field Center. Upon opening it, it had a single anchor store, Macy's, as well as numerous smaller stores and junior anchors, such as Woolworth's, SS Kresge, which was the forerunner of Kmart, Walgreens, and Food Fair Supermarket, among numerous others. It was developed by the real estate company Webb & Knapp, the developer William Zeckendorf, and R.H. Macy & Company, and it was designed by architect I.M. Pei, as well as the Randolph Boiler and Rene Bergoni firm, and the Owings and Merrill firm. The mall was then sold to corporate property investors in 1966, and then finally to its current owners, Simon Property Group, in 1998. This wing of the mall and the Nordstroms weren't added until 1997. When the mall first opened, it was a single level and was open air, as most malls were back then. It didn't get fully enclosed until a major renovation was done between 1967 and 1968, and that's also when they changed the name of the mall from Roosevelt Field Center to Roosevelt Field Mall. From what I've read, the mall was not instantly successful when it opened. Up until the early 60s, there were apparently numerous vacant stores, and one of the original stores, Food Fair, the grocery store, actually closed in 1958, just 2 years after the mall opened. It seems that it wasn't until about 1962, when the mall's second anchor store, Gimbel's, opened, that the mall started to see an uptick in business, and as far as I can tell, the mall's been largely successful ever since then. I wasn't able to find any current figures for the mall, but as of 2018, the mall was making about $968 in sales per square foot, which at that time was greater than King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania and Garden State Plaza in New Jersey. And both of those malls are considered some of the most successful malls in this part of the country. And for reference, from what I've read, a mall with more than roughly $500 in sales per square foot is considered to be successful. But I'm not an expert in that by any means. If anybody out there knows of a website where I can easily find information on what a mall is making per square foot, please let me know in the comments, because honestly, it's very difficult to find. Usually, if I do find it, it's by accident, and I usually cannot find that information for most of the malls that I go to. Straight ahead is the Macy's, which, as I mentioned, was the mall's original anchor store, and it's been there since 1956, which makes it the only remaining early anchor store, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the mall's only remaining original store, period, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And fun fact, when that Macy's first opened, it had 4 levels, but they added a 5th level between 1963 and 1964 to compete with the Gimbels. And once they had opened up that 5th floor, the size of the Macy's far outweighed the Gimbels, which I guess was a big deal back then. I'm sure they were pretty big competitors. Also, according to an old mall map I have, the SS Kresge's used to be located approximately to the right. I don't know if it was in where this art house is today, but it would have been in this general vicinity. Alright, so let's take this hallway here to the left, and then we'll come back and do the rest of this hallway on the way out. As you can see, the mall is currently 2 levels, plus there's a basement level straight ahead, which we'll get to in a little bit. But this second level apparently was not added to the mall until between roughly 1991 to 1996. From what I've read, part of the second floor was completed in 1993, and then the rest of the second floor was completed by 1996. So before that, this was all still a single level. And this hallway here was not added until 2016. At the end of the hall there is the Neiman Marcus, and that also was added in 2016. I have to say, one of my favorite parts of this mall are the ceilings, or the roofs, whatever you want to call them. They're all glass, as you can see, and it reminds me a lot of the Crystal Palace and other similar like arcade type malls that were all glass like that. I mean, it's especially great on a day like this when it's nice and sunny outside. It brightens up the entire place. I would imagine the mall would have an entirely different look at night, but still it's quite spectacular. Another nice thing about this mall, in my opinion, are the planters. As I've said many times, I like seeing plants and trees in malls. So the fact that they have planters here is a positive in my book. Only downside is I did not see any fountains. I think if they added some fountains to this mall, it might possibly be the perfect mall. Possibly. Straight ahead where those stairs are, that is what I'm calling the basement level. I don't know if it's got another name to it, but we will go down there in a few minutes. Actually, probably more than a few minutes, because this is going to be a long video. It's going to be slightly over 1 hour. It's just that big of a mall. So stay tuned for that. Just noticed that store's got a portable air conditioner in it, so I'm wondering if the mall's having some issues with the AC. I can tell you when I visited the mall, this was in early July, and it was in the 90s at least. It was extremely hot, and it was not that warm inside here. The air conditioner seemed to be working fine, so I'm not sure why they have to have those portable ACs in that store. Coming up ahead, you see that orange and blue thing? That is a playground or a playscape, and I believe up until 2015 there used to be some glass elevators located right there, but they were apparently removed because they were leaking hydraulic fluid. And I don't believe this mall has any more glass elevators. At least I didn't see any. They do have elevators though, but they're the type that are like in the wall and they're not very obvious. But they do still have elevators. And at this point, the reason I'm looking around is because I'm thinking to myself, where am I exactly? Which direction should I be going next? Because it was kind of confusing at parts. This mall's layout is not as confusing as King of Prussia, but it's close. To me, being somebody that hasn't been here in 30 years, often I was kind of unclear where I was in the mall. But luckily I did eventually make it out. Now, this is actually not the first time I've ever been to Roosevelt Field Mall. However, the last time I was here was back in September of 1995, so almost 30 years ago. And the reason I know that is because I went to college for my freshman year down here on Long Island, and the college was maybe 10 minutes from here, I think. So back in September of 95, the Star Wars Power of the Force 2 figures had just come out, and it was a big deal back then. I was really excited for it, and I was like, you know what? I want to get some Star Wars figures. So I came here. There was a KB. I don't remember where the KB was. It might have been in this general area, but I don't remember for sure. But one thing I do remember is I ended up buying the Luke Skywalker figure where he was in his orange flight suit. Why I remember a detail like that, I have no idea. And here's the JCPenney, which was the mall's fourth anchor store. It opened in 1972, and apparently it underwent a major renovation in 2010. This mall used to have a plaque indicating the location where Charles Lindbergh took off for his 1927 transatlantic flight. Apparently it was removed sometime about 10 years ago, roughly. But from what I've gathered, the plaque used to be somewhere between this JCPenney and the Dick's Sporting Goods, which is ahead and to the left. So I guess we're standing right now approximately where Charles Lindbergh took off, which is just mind-blowing to me. On the right here, this car is, I'm guessing, a 2025 Alfa Romeo Tonale. I was looking for a price tag on the window here. I didn't see one, but I looked it up, and apparently they have a starting price of $36,000, which seems ridiculously low for an Alfa Romeo, but apparently that's what they sell for. I would imagine they're probably more like in the 40s when you actually go to the dealership, but still, for an Alfa Romeo, that seems cheap to me. Up ahead, this is where the mall's second anchor store, Gimbel's, was located from 1962 until it closed in 1986. It became a Stearns in 1987, but the Stearns closed in 2001. The space was then divided up, and in 2004, where the Primark is today, Bloomingdale's Furniture Gallery opened, but it closed in 2019. The Primark opened in its place in 2022. And then on the right, where the Dick's is, this was originally Galen's, which was also a sporting goods store. It opened in 2003, but it became the Dick's in 2004. Coming up at the end of the hallway here, this is where the mall's third anchor store, Alexander's, opened in 1971. The Alexander's closed in 1991. They apparently gutted the building, and Abraham and Straus took its place in 1992. The Abraham and Straus closed in 1995. Then it was gutted and renovated again, and it became the Bloomingdale's in 1995. I think the Woolworths used to be on the left here, possibly where this Portobello is, or possibly where the Foot Locker is. At least that's what it looks like on some of the old mall maps. But of course, if anybody knows exactly where the Woolworths used to be, please let me know in the comments. Alright, so now let's take this escalator up to the second floor. I don't think I can remember ever seeing a hot tub for sale before in a mall, especially one with water in it like that. Here's one of the very few number of vacant storefronts they have here. Not entirely sure why this part of the mall is so quiet. Now, the rest of the mall, as you saw, is like elbow to elbow with people, and then this part is almost completely empty. On the left here, this is a little museum called Flying Through the Years at Roosevelt Field.
Opening a new era in aviation. Seahawks, Army Navy racers, pursuit planes, and passenger transports rolled out of the Curtis factory on Clinton Road in Garden City and on to Long Island's runways. Lawrence Sperry goes into New York's Sperry Messenger in Farmingdale. Then in 1929, based on Sperry's pioneering work, we finally found a way to fly solely on instruments without any visual reference to the outside world. Flying from visual field and other cockpits.
straight across on the second floor, that's the dining district. It's their food court. That was added in 2015, and that replaced a prior food court, which I think was located to the right in the center. And it did not look like that at all. It actually looked like a Zeppelin. They had a blimp was on the ceiling. It was pretty spectacular. And again, this is where the Gimbals was located up until 1986. Alright, so now let's take a look at the dining district, which I would say is probably one of the bigger food courts I've ever seen. And it seems to be doing really well because I think I only saw one vacancy in the entire food court, which is very unusual nowadays. If you're still watching the video, let me know in the comments, because I'll bet you're not watching anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen a Samsung store before. Okay, so now I'm on a mission to get down to the basement level.
What?
Coming up on the right is the Clawcade. It's an arcade with a lot of claw machines, and I will go through there at the end. So we'll go down to the end of the hallway first, turn around, and then we'll take a look inside the arcade.
grab my toy real quick.
And here's something I've never seen before. This is Metro Mart, which is also a Hallmark store. So I've never seen a Hallmark store mixed with a convenience store before. Never seen that. All right, so there's the interior of the mall, and I think most of you would agree that this mall is thriving. I mean, I don't see any indications whatsoever of it being dead, dying, or even struggling. It just seems to be doing really, really well. But of course, if you disagree, feel free to let me know. And don't go anywhere yet. Next, we're going to do a drive around of the mall and see what it looks like from the outside. Here's the Macy's, which has been here since 1956. And as you can probably see, traffic was pretty heavy around here. I had to wait for quite a while for pedestrians and traffic to clear. This is what the Macy's looked like probably in the late 50s to early 60s. Here's the Neiman Marcus, which was added in 2016. I like the design, but I have to wonder how long can a design like that last, without falling apart. I don't know. It doesn't seem as permanent as brick or concrete.
Yeah, flip back.
This part of the mall here, which also includes the AMC Theater, is not physically connected to the interior of the mall, so you cannot access any of these stores right here from inside the mall. If you look down this alley here, you'll see that these two buildings are not connected. Here's the JCPenney, which has been here since 1972. And I know I read that they did an update on this JCPenney in 2010, but the exterior does still look fairly original to me. Here's the old Gimbel's building, and I think that label scar there might say Bloomingdale's Furniture Gallery. It's hard to read, though. And that's probably one of the biggest sporting goods stores I've ever seen. This is where the Alexanders was located from 71 to 91, then became Abraham and Straus in 92, and then it became the Bloomingdales in 95. And then finally, here's the Nordstrom's, which was added in 1997. There you have it. That was Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, New York. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.